How's it going, guys? Lackstar here with.
Uh, Chroma.
We're having another discussion video today. The topic
Yep.
is character-driven narratives versus plot-driven narratives.
And which one basically serves as the background or foreground for better storytelling. So, to basically start off the subject, personally speaking, I believe that all the stories that have been told have already been told. I don't think there are any new stories to be told. There's no other way for people to, describe things outside of their own human experience. And in my opinion, that's why character driven narratives, stories that focus on developing characters and getting you to care about the characters, I feel like those types of stories have more weight. A really good example that comes to mind is what do you call it now? Up. Hmm? Because in the first few minutes of the film, where Pixar managed to make grown men cry, in the very first few minutes of the film, they established who the characters are, what they want, and then in the last few parts of that, little montage, essentially, what we then got was a lot of injustice. The man wanted a family, he wanted to be with his wife, all of those things. But then our hearts are basically ripped out of our chest as this
When we
man was
discovered
robbed
she
of,
has cancer.
and she also couldn't have a baby, and they couldn't actually afford enough
To actually go to their
to
Paradise
to,
Falls
to go
because
to their
of the guy
paradise. So
just
it was
ripped.
a form of
Yeah.
injustice. It was a goal not met. And if it wasn't for that character narrative, then I don't see how anyone would care about the movie. If it was
Yeah.
something more akin to, oh, if he doesn't get to the fall in time, the
His wife
world
will.
will come to an
Yeah.
end, or his wife will die.
That's not really personal enough.
Yeah, because again, most stories with overarching narratives have already been told, whether it's medieval, caveman based, fantasy based. Most stories with overarching narratives have already been told, even if it's modern.
That's to step in. That's why I enjoy D&D so much because most of it is character driven because you're basically playing off of the characters that you are DMing or that you're playing. When you,
Yeah, you pretty much just have to go with the flow. And while I wouldn't say that most D&D campaigns are the stuff
narrative
of good
genius.
stories, because unfortunately, if you really want your audience to sympathize with the character, a certain level of narrative cohesion has to be there, and most D&D campaigns don't own that kind of shit.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, but the
But
ones that do get to care about the characters are phenomenal.
30 seconds remaining.
I will get that.
The Fernando.
Fernando, no, that Talos had a vendetta.
Yeah. Now,
But yeah,
both
what were you saying?
you can have narrative and character driven plots
15 seconds
in
Of
the same
course, those are
story.
definitely not
They're not
mutually.
exclusive at all.
If you want something that in semi-recent memory, then Naruto comes to mind, which is both character-driven and narrative-driven. There are overarching storylines that overlap. Now, while I wouldn't say that it interweaves with each other perfectly, because the conflict with Naruto and Sasuke is very much portrayed as a separate issue
Yeah.
or
It
as a
doesn't.
separate function versus the
It
Ninja
doesn't come
War,
up. The only time it comes up is at the end of the
the series.
at the end of the series and the end of one of the seasons in PTS Naruto.
Yep.
That's the only time it
And
comes up. And the only thing it does really is motivate Naruto to.
Spend the credits.
to bring back his friend because his friend is suffering, yada yada yada, Arsted and Alpha.
Naruto doesn't even power up when for Sasuke. He gets the powers up because he needs to do the war and he needs to defeat pain. Those are the only reasons he powers up. He doesn't be like, oh,
So that
I
he
mean,
trains his power.
Yeah, Sasuke is a little bit of motivation for getting
Capture
Sasuke's in
point
there,
spawning in
but it's
15
mostly village
seconds.
protection and all of that. Let's not make this a Naruto discussion.
Okay, no, it's not going to be a Naruto discussion. Let me get more
5,
Chronos.
4, 3, 2,
But
1.
there are some weaknesses I feel with character-driven stories, and I feel that's why movies tend to like to go for overarching plots instead. Because one of the weaknesses with character-driven stories is that at times it can kind of feel like there's meandering when it comes to the writing.
Yeah, drawn
And
out.
if the audience feels like it's being meandered, a lot of them tend to get, pissy. They're like, oh, why are you doing this now? Or how long is this arc gonna last? Or whatever, whatever, whatever. Even when it's something extremely important to the development of the characters. And another issue that you can find as it relates to, character writing is that you can go too unnecessary into certain details.
Yeah.
And it really takes a well-seasoned writer and a polished writer in order to, balance between story progression and building up your characters. Another good example that comes to mind, in my personal opinion, is the beginning after the end. Because in the beginning after the end, there are a lot of people that were complaining about, or people on the platform I was reading it. There are a lot of people who were complaining about the pacing a bit, and in my opinion, the pacing was a lot better than something like Slave B. And as such, I actually grew to like the characters. I saw the characters, because one of the goals you want as a writer is for people to see your characters in separation from the main characters,
And
because
actually be
a lot
invested
of
in them and not have the story hinge on the
exactly
main character only.
One
Dragon
Piece
Ball.
one this man, One Piece does it phenomenally well,
Oh, One Piece.
because
Nah,
One Piece is so confident
in its
that they have
characters.
literally shown whole
Like,
arcs where the main
you don't
characters
see
aren't even
Luffy.
glimpsed.
You don't see
Exactly.
Luffy. And
You don't see Luffy.
that's like almost a staple of One Piece too.
Exactly,
It's not
because
an
it's world
isolated
building
thing.
and characterization.
Oh,
It
that's not,
shows you that the world
it's
feels
lived
built
in. It's lived in.
and lived in, and
Like,
it's
oh,
so engrossing. But stuff like Dragon Ball Z doesn't have. How did Ruckus get back his ult already?
No idea.
And Shaolin is now invisible. But stuff like Dragon Ball Z really doesn't capitalize on that. If Goku's not in the fray, then they can't be bothered.
Yeah.
And usually I would say it's just the writers at Toei and Shueisha not having enough confidence in their IP that other characters can stand on their own. But then I really remembered. Oh wow, that Makoa had it out for me. Oh, that Kinessa is popping off. But then I really remembered that Dragon Ball fans and Dragon Ball Z fans are really like that. They don't want no change.
Yeah,
They don't want no nothing. And the only exception to that is that there's a good enough margin or portion of them that want Vegeta to beat a main villain, but that's about it.
That's about.
Because
They
a
don't
lot,
really care about it being character driven. They just care about the two main characters.
pretty much, because the worst thing about it is, because like for me, I didn't even watch Dragon Ball growing up. I didn't even watch Dragon Ball.
Neither did I.
But I still care about Ten Shinhan. I still care about Krillin. I still care about Yamcha. But it seems like for especially Western audiences, they couldn't give two lessons of a fuck.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And it's very interesting to me that you'll say you like the property, but the only thing you like is Goku. And that level of power fantasy, I feel, is a very dangerous thing. I'm not saying people can't have it, and I'm not saying that Dragon Ball Z has to go into some deep psychological and
Yeah, you'd
physiological
lose a
and
lot
whatever
of fans at
information.
that point.
You lose a lot of fans, and that's not what Dragon Ball Z is about at the end of the day. But a story is nothing without stakes, and unfortunately,
Dragon Ball
Dragon
has
Ball
lost that a
Z
long time ago.
lost that a long time ago, and it is in a state of being which is called suffering from success. It's gotten so popular now that they don't have the confidence to move forward
They
with
don't. They
any
don't
other
want. They,
plot
yeah. They
line.
don't. They don't want to experiment because they don't want to piss off their
They
audience.
don't. It's not even about pissing off the audience because the Japanese could give less of a fuck about the mood of their audience. It's about pissing off their monetary source because if the money stops coming in, then that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah.
But you know, we're not here to talk about Dragon Ball Z. We're here to talk about narrative stuff, and it's not even Dragon Ball Z because Dragon Ball Z,
Was fine.
especially was fine, especially
It,
in the Cell and Frieza saga.
Deathmatch.
Everybody, okay, TDM, everybody had a role to play.
yeah.
Everybody had a role to play, and I could fuck with that.
To be fair, for the
It's
Buu saga, Toriyama was out. Toriyama didn't want to do the Buu saga.
no
For
Toriyama
Cell.
did do the Buu saga.
No, he didn't
The
want
issue
to.
is that
He didn't
they
want
gave him reins to do whatever the hell he wanted,
Yeah.
which was the issue. Which is why Boo didn't feel like he had an identity. Boo just kind of kept absorbing niggas. Also, Boo did what Zamasu been trying to do for like solid 3 years.
Exterminate
Boo
all
just
of
went around.
immortals.
Nah, Boo just went around the lookout, counted them niggas, and is like, I say less. But back to the conversation at hand. Yeah, because I was mentioning the beginning after the end, and long story short, the beginning after the end, it is a reincarnation story. But one of the things I appreciate that it does in the air or in the vein of Mushoku no Tensei, I think that's what the name of it is. Um, it it gives you time to understand the characters, the weaknesses of the characters' friends and family, and it makes you care for them. And one of the best things about doing this, especially doing it in a measured sense, is that if something is to happen to these characters, you actually feel something for them, whether it's negative or positive, it's up to you. A good example is this character from Beginning After End. I think his name was Lucas, or
Lucas.
something
I
like
hate
that.
Lucas so
Lu-
much.
exactly. And it's funny because the main character literally couldn't do anything because of Lucas's connections,
Yeah, his
and
family.
even as powerful as the main character is, he couldn't do anything. And it gives a sense of injustice, but it also gives a sense of anticipation that we will eventually
Lucas will
that Lucas
eventually get
will
his
get his
comeuppance.
comeuppance. Understood? And it's a way to build up anticipation and all of that. They gave him, whether it be a temporary goal or a set goal, they gave him a goal that allows him, the main character, to have to plan properly, because in a lot of the stuff that we read, especially, the main character usually just has the ability to power through everything
Yeah.
and just use and solve everything with brute force. Wow, she executed me. Terminus, get her. That's usually what the main character is able to do, and it's very faulty story writing,
It's
because that can get
it's
boring
novel when it starts up,
in the
but
beginning,
if it's
but
the plot for the rest of the show, it becomes very
it becomes
bland.
very boring and repetitive. A really good example is
Most manhwa.
what was it? Most manhwa, but right now, Victor, you Batman. The something there. What's it? Rise of the Tomb Raider King or Tomb Raider King or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's a good one because the main character pretty much just kind of gets away with everything, and everything just kind of works out according to his plans. And it was fun. It was fun in the first place, but after a while, it became kind of redundant, if I'm
Boring and
being honest with
repetitive.
you. And his circle hasn't increased. The circle hasn't really developed much. It's a whole conundrum, and I'm slowly but surely losing interest in it. This Maeve is coming around that corner, and I do not want to deal with her. Of course, I had to deal with her. Thank you very much, sir. You assisted me.
Yeah.
But
there is bad, there is downsides to character writing, especially
yeah,
if you're not a good writer. Well, especially if you do not know how to write a character properly. If you
and
can't get
especially if you
together.
don't know how to express your themes properly. I don't know if you're seeing this right now, but on my screen you are just floating. But also, if you don't know how to express your themes properly, it can become very, oh no, it can become very detrimental to you. Victor, come on, man. It can become very detrimental, as explained by Slave B. Because if you've seen with Slave B is trying to get really philosophical, but it's like it doesn't
it's dropping the ball.
understand. It dropped the ball so hard with some of the characters, and I don't think it really gave us the time necessary with some of the characters. Like a good example is with Tarek, who is like the big lovable oaf of Slave B,
Yeah.
and they gave him a girlfriend
And then
only
killed
to
her off
damn near kill her
immediately.
immediately
No
on some
no
He-Man
time
type of shit.
for emotional development. No time.
And
to
I'm
actually
like,
write the
you
character.
gave him the
'Cause
girlfriend.
I'm pretty
a
sure immediately
week
she was
ago.
kind of an antagonist to the main elf girl.
Yeah, she was an antagonist. She was a kind of a dick to Tirasu. But are you Gizmati that? No, Terminus get that. And it's kind of detrimental. And Slave B, I had such high hopes for Slave B, and then it just kind of fumbled.
Yeah.
It just kind of fumbled. But you know, character writing, I feel overall is superior because, like, a good I think I have a good way to summarize
your
it.
plot can be extraordinary, but if it doesn't have good characters, no one's going to.
No one's going to read it, but I think I have a good way to summarize it. When you watch or read shonen,
Not too shabby.
they got dusted on. When you watch or read shonen, the main character's goal is always given. And because of how story writing works, you know that the way to create a satisfying payoff is to have their character achieve their goal. And that's why One Piece is so successful as it is, because One Piece, literally, the goal is he's going to become the king of pirates.
Well,
We know Luffy's going to become the king of pirates. And finding the One Piece. We know that they're gonna achieve that. We know that Zoro is gonna become the greatest swordsman. That Hosted and Cole fight. We know that is gonna happen. The whole question, it's onslaught, gross. The whole question about it is, how are we going to go about it? Like,
what is the journey going to be? Because we know the end goal. We already know the end goal because it's shown. We know he's going to do it. The important thing is the journey of how he gets
there. The important thing is the journey, how they get there, the people they meet, what they do.
And then, the sequel, One Piece 2.
Yeah, One Piece Shippuden, or with the main character Goofy.
Yes.
Yeah, nah, that Oda wouldn't do that shit.
No, he would not.
That shit. Oda has more respect for his property
more
than
integrity.
That. And you know what? I didn't even give a bad example of bad character writing that most people would know, because we're talking about manhwas, like most of the niggas watching fussy, but not pick. We talking about manhwa like anybody would know about the ones we're watching or reading. A good example. I'll bring up this dirt bag. A good example is Sakura.
Your champion.
Sakura is a very phenomenal example of bad character writing.
Yes.
Because not only did she serve no real, plot to the story, but she also was just kind of a bad person and a bad friend.
Yeah, she was.
And even if you want to take away her character flaws, one of the things you have to keep in mind is that it's like even Kishimoto himself forgot his points about Sakura. Sakura was supposed to be on the same intelligence level as Shikamaru at one point.
Yeah, she was supposed to be very smart because she was like top of her class for like.
Exactly. She was one of the few people who didn't even need to cheat on the exam, where it was made so hard that you needed to cheat.
Oh, she punched good now.
Like Sakura's ability to think and strategize should have been brought more to the forefront. It should have been brought into more battles. And in some cases, we've seen that in her medical ninjutsu practice, like the one redeeming thing that she's done, which is save Naruto's life. But in other cases, it doesn't come to that, especially if Sasuke is involved. If Sasuke is involved, she turns back into a literal child.
She crumbles when Sasuke is involved. Like
And
there's a
I'm
lot of
just
parody
like,
videos about Sakura swooning over Sasuke, and the thing is, it's not even it's not even a parody of
it's
what
not even
happens.
parody. It's just how he
It's
is.
just how the
And
character
you know,
is.
one of the things that we've learned, especially in Western media nowadays, if you're trying to introduce a new character or you're just trying to get the audience to care about a character, you want to know one of the ways that you don't get a character to be endearing? Don't shit on other characters just for them to try and heist themselves up. I like, you know, it's been memed into oblivion nowadays.
Hold on,
But when
hold
Sakura
on,
was,
hold on.
Here goes nothing.
Continue.
yeah, it's been memed into oblivion nowadays. But let's not forget when Sakura lit. Oh, there's another round. Oh, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be. Oh wait, no, I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Vivian put me in my place. I am
Put you in
sorry.
a box.
Put me in a box, dog, and wrap me up like a present. Anyways, it's been memed that oh you dead. Vivian put you in your place too.
Nah,
No,
and Drugs is gave me the Chris Breezy though.
Androx just wake up and said, I woke up, Chris Breezy.
You cannot kill a
You were saying.
Yeah, but yeah, as I was saying, it's been kind of beaten as a meme right now. Not right now, but it's been beaten as a meme. But as it relates to Sakura, literally trying to heist herself up in Sasuke's opinion by putting down Naruto. Like if I remember correctly, Sasuke only came and asked her, "Oh, where's Naruto?" And she took that opportunity. Oh wow, Ron is coming in like a freight train. And she just took that opportunity to start shitting on Naruto, talking about how he doesn't have any parents. And
Oh
I'm just
my
like,
gosh, I don't. I maybe probably blocked that out because I don't remember that scene.
no, I'll send you the scene later. And I'm just like, Sasuke was so disgusted by her that he literally said, okay, maybe instead of bad talking Naruto behind his back, maybe you should spend some time training because frankly speaking, your skills are worse than his. And then what she got upset over was literally the fact that Sasuke called her trash.
Don't blink, you'll miss it.
And you know, the saddest thing about Sakura is that they were doing fairly well in redeeming her character. They were doing fairly well in redeeming her character when Shippuden came along. But then, okay, Vivian, I understand you don't like me. But then they just kind of turned her back into the quivering, whimpering child that she was in the original series. Because I was very excited for Sakura, and I wanted Sakura to do better. No, I'm talking about Shippuden. I was very excited for Sakura, and I wanted Sakura to do better. Wow, that Tyra hates me. I wanted Sakura to do better because, you know, she was beating Sasori. She was actually able to do something in the bell test instead of get scared. Because remember how she literally failed the bell test the first time?
Yeah, she couldn't do anything.
Yeah, like all what do you call it? All Kakashi did was use the headhunter jutsu and buried Sasuke down to his neck. Nope. I don't want to be outed.
And she lost it.
And she literally fainted. She literally fainted. I'm like, you're becoming a ninja. I am dead. I am dead. They do not want me to live. Can someone come and support me? No. Okay, I'm gonna die. Understood. But yeah, she literally passed out, and I'm like, and this woman is supposed to be a kunoichi. This is supposed to be a person that you can trust your life and health to. This is the person. Oh, we have no healer. Oh, that's why I'm dying. That's unfortunate. And this is the woman that we're supposed to trust our life and give our backs to and all of that. You see how redundant that feels? Koga, don't go. But you know, as I said, it could have been done better. I remember there was even an interview with Kishimoto, and he said, I don't know why people don't like Sakura. That's how girls were when I was growing up. And I'm like, wow, that is sad. That is sad. But yeah,
Well,
literally bad mouthing an
mother's
orphan
dating this video.
to an orphan. What'd you say?
My mother just texted me happy birthday. She's dating this video. And
Oh,
it showed up on the video.
That's lovely. Your
Uh,
mother, that's adorable. Your mother loves you. Ah, I was almost there. All right, we need some kind of healing. What nana healing ability?
no.
But yeah, that's just my viewpoint. Because good characterization can go one of three ways. To just summarize my points, more Haven. Good characterization can go one of three ways. It can either make the character boring if you overdo it. It can make the character extremely compelling if you do it right,
And it can make the
or
plot
if
seem
you
shit
just
in
fuck it up
comparison.
completely, you can make a Sakura.
Or you can make the plot shit in comparison.
Because that's the thing, it's not even like you see if Sakura was a villain or she was supposed to be some kind of antagonist, people would not hate her character as much.
No.
Because people hate what's her name? Mine? I think it was Mine from Shield Hero, the red hair chick. People hate her, but
They're
the thing
supposed to.
about it, you're supposed to. Like they don't have to be good people. Like people hate Aizen, but you're supposed to hate Aizen.
That's his entire character.
That's his entire character. Vivian, don't test me, you're low on health. Don't test me, you're low on
Vivian, don't
health.
test me. Vivian, don't
You
test me.
cannot kill a shadow.
Well,
Yeah, that's their entire
we're getting
character.
down
So
to the
yeah.
end of the time here. A few minutes left.
But yeah, what
Bad
are your
character
closing
writing.
points, bro?
Bad character writing. You can also write another point for terrible character writing is Ruby.
Have you met my
Irdman.
They pandered and it ruined the characters.
It ruined a lot of the characters. Ruined a lot of the characters. And you can tell that most of the writers, and I use that term very loosely, you can tell that most of the writers are definitely, like millennials and Gen Z type of people. Because their only arguments for a lot of things that are happening in the show, especially as it relates to Ironwood, is that Ironwood is the bad guy because Ironwood doesn't agree with us, and anybody that doesn't immediately agree with us is automatically the bad guy, and it's just a whole bunch of things. It's just wasted potential. I didn't finish the season either. The only reason I know that is through reviews and through skipping. But it is what it is. Rubies are the garbage fire that it is. No, Tyra, I won't give them hell. And the pandering and all of that, they literally wrote out the character. They wrote out Sun just so they could fit an agenda. And that goes back to our previous, I think one of our previous conversations, where the biggest issue with nowadays writing is just like, come on, man. Don't worry about pandering. Just write the story properly. Write the story properly and get better. Ruby is one of the few shows that have started out as great as it did, and then I just see it and watch it no, Maldamba, why? And just watch it turn to just goop. And then the fandom isn't any better. And Imani, okay, there we go. And the fandom
pandering to.
Nah, the fandom isn't any better because I remember recently there was some issues in the in the Reddit group where anything negative that you say can literally get you banned and in some cases doxxed by the Reddit group. Even if you're not in the damn group. That's how bad the pandering is. That's how bad it's gotten that they want representation so much that they're literally abridging people's free speech and right to criticize.
6, 5, 4.
Isn't that like actually ridiculous? But I didn't really expect any better, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It's modern writing, and all we can do is just hope that there's some good things. Like one of the movies that you, me, and Nick are gonna watch is an animated one made by the same studio that made Castlevania, and I'm hoping that it will be good. It's about what's it called, The Witcher. But yeah,
it's a Witcher movie.
Yeah, Witcher movie. So I'm very excited for it. But you know, if you're gonna do character-driven writing, like my end thought, if you're gonna do character-driven writing,
Points spawning in 50
then
seconds.
you need to actually understand what makes a compelling human being. You can't be looking down from your proverbial, you know, proverbial pedestal and virtue signaling and pandering and all of that. You can't be doing that because when you look from she loves you, boy.
I know. Why is she calling right now?
She
Of
loves you,
all
boy.
times.
Oh God.
I'm ending the video. My closing
Yeah,
thoughts is
sure.
character writing versus narrative writing. Crap.
You lost the train of thought.
I've been
That's
thrown
unfortunate.
off. Oh my god. Oh gosh. Character writing can make or break your story if the narrative writing is not good enough. It can also enhance the story and make the the narrative writing more bearable. But it can also worsen. I am
It
not
can
even
worsen
thinking.
it.
I'm not even thinking right now. I'm sorry.
And one final example, Amber from Invincible.
All right.
That's my final thought.
Okay, let me leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
If you enjoyed this
We'll
video,
leave it at-
if you enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you enjoyed my content, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Appease the algorithm. But anyways, we're gonna finish up this match. You're not gonna see the finish up this match. But
Yo,
anyways,
Dumba, you are.
but anyways, this is Lackstar
Blink.
With Chroma
signing off.
on 4.